Hi, Gunn. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I must start this conversation saying that you're responsible for my favorite Marvel movie, my favorite Scooby-Doo movie, my favorite zombie movie, and now you're directing my new favorite Superman movie. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, you said before that All-Star Superman is one of your great inspirations from this movie, but many fans see that story as the definitive ending for the Superman. So why you choose a story that feels like a goodbye for the starting point of a new universe?
What inspired me about All-Star Superman wasn't the story, although the story is inspiring. I love it. But it was when I was trying to come up with how I was going to approach Superman, I went back and was rereading all my old Superman comics. Kingdom Come, Superman for All Seasons, Red Sun. And I came upon, All-Star Superman, and I've known Grant Morrison for a while. And I read it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it was the feeling of it, that was created by, Frank Quietly and Jamie Grant as much as Grant Morrison. So it was like the feeling of this big sort of 50s science fiction magical feel with a Superman who's like this, sort of brash, chest forward, always marching on to the next challenge sort of guy, and Lois, who's a little bit crazy and loopy and going around and doing crazy stuff, and then the real sort of narcissistic evil Lex, and then just the looks of it, the color palette, everything. Those were all things we took from. So it wasn't the story at all. It was the tone and the characters that All-Star Superman inspired.
Yeah, my favorite scene of this movie, and I feel is like the core of this Superman, is the one where we have this great battle. I think it's Solaris at the background. But the foreground is a more intimate moment for Superman. How was the reaction of the cast and the producers and everyone you told about, okay, so let's create this great epic battle, but it would be just the background for a scene about a dialogue about a dog?
I don't think people understood what I meant when it was in the script. And then we came on set, and it was this sort of beautiful thing because we were able to do it practically. And then there was some real internal resistance to doing it in the movie because, number one, it was pretty expensive, and it's a scene with just two characters talking, and so we had to put all this money into it. And there always comes that time in any movie where, you're over budget, or you're going to be over budget if you keep going, and you have to find places to cut costs, and so people wanted to cut that. And then other people, when we did the first screenings, wanted to cut it because they thought it was distracting. But I love it. And it ended up to be the favorite scene in the movie by a lot of people because it is an intimate conversation between two characters, and it shows you that we live in this magical world where these things happen. They're not, they're not normal necessarily, but they happen. Occasionally, an imp will come in over the city and start to terrorize people, and superheroes will have to stop it. And
everyone is talking about your chemistry on screen and behind the cameras, and I think that's what's what I love the most on this couple is that it's not perfect. They're messy, they're flawed, but they make it work. And what do you think you can learn with Lois and Superman and their relationship, and what is not that great and shouldn't be replicated in a real life relationship?
Well, we hate each other in real life. I think they fight well, actually. They trust each other enough, and even at this early stage in their relationship, they both have very clear worldviews. They have the same goal. They're ultimately, I think, on the same page, but they go about it sometimes in totally different ways. She's someone who prides herself on being 10 steps ahead of everyone else. He's someone who prides himself on trusting people first, loving them first.
Taking things sort of at face value and seeing the good.
But I don't know, I love that big scene between them because they duke it out. They both make their point. They have some less than fine moments, and they figure out how to, well, is that a spoiler? They figure out how to come back together.
I mean, hopefully it's taken for granted that, but I like that James put the characters at about 3 months of dating. My mom always said that 3 months in a relationship was sort of no matter whether it was going well or poorly, 3 months was always a moment where there's something instinctual in your brain where you start to question it and go like, is this really what I want? And you said it as well. It's sort of a moment where you wonder, if you go past 3 months, then it becomes something else.
Like, was this a really fun fling, or is this forever?
Yeah, and I think the idea that if you're having doubts or fighting more than usual, just check to see how long you've been together. And if it's 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years, then you might just be hitting that patch of turbulence that you got to get through.
That's great. So one of your trademarks is just grab the weirdest and quirky characters, and somehow they end up still in our hearts. You did it with Groot and Rocket, and with Weasel and King Shark, and now you're doing it again with Crypto and a Robot. Why do you think you're so drawn to this kind of characters, and why the audience always connects so strongly with them?
I love animals, and so I think that probably just shows up in the way I write them. And I feel that, I don't know, what I was about to say in my head, what I said is I understand animals, which of course I don't understand animals, they're animals. But I was raised with dogs around me all the time. I had dogs as siblings before I had a brother or a sister. So I feel like I'm imprinted on dogs. I love nothing more than rolling around on the floor playing with my dogs. And I think that I really, as much as I talk about Ozu, who's the inspiration for Crypto, and what a terrible dog he is, and he is a terrible dog, I love him. And so it was just a fun thing to put him in the movie. I've always loved Crypto in the comics. I've always looked for reasons to read Crypto comics. And so trying to make a more grounded, cooler version of Crypto was something that was exciting about the movie from the beginning.
Yeah.
And the robots, I just love robots too. As a kid, you can see I drew tons of comics with robots. And whether it's G.I. Robot and Creature Commandos, who's the most popular character from that series, or it's number 4, who is in this movie. I don't know, they're funny to me.
Well, now let's do something fun and a little meta. I want you, Rachel, to imagine you are the real Lois Lane, and you're interviewing David because he's gonna play Superman in a movie about the hero. What would you ask to him?
We've gotten asked so many of the same questions, and I want to know the hard-hitting stuff. What's the best underwear to wear under the suit?
Under the suit. Most people ask about the underwear over the suit.
Yeah, I want to know about under the suit.
Under the suit, it's.
I feel like it's a perma wedgie. Like,
it's
how do you
spandex.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't want to be up directly against the suit because the inside of the suit is quite abrasive, and it's quite tight to slip into. So you need some like smooth, a good like slick like spandex. You can just slide into it. Sometimes you need some baby powder. I've heard of people getting oiled up to get into their superhero suits. I never had to do that, thank goodness.
See, no one's asked this question.
These are the tricks of the trade.
This is the stuff people want to know.
And scene.
Yeah, great. Now let's do the opposite. Now you're Clark Kent and you're interviewing Rachel
good.
about her portraying.
Can I borrow your glasses?
Lois Lane. Oh, yeah. But she's portraying Lois Lane in a documentary about her getting her Pulitzer Prize.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
You're going to get a Pulitzer Prize. Where do you keep your acceptance speech?
Acceptance speech, or where will I keep my Pulitzer?
The first one first and the second one second.
Where do I keep my acceptance speech?
Yeah.
In my head.
You don't write it down?
I've been working on this acceptance speech since I was 6.
Oh, very good.
Where am I going to keep the Pulitzer?
Yeah, right next to your other one?
Right next to the first one?
That's perfect. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Love it to meet you.
Thank you very much.